Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear us? Everyone seems to be in a slightly drowsy mode. Okay, so let me start with, how's the Josh today? Can't hear you at all. How's the Josh today? Okay, so we're going to have a panel discussion with three young entrepreneurs. So I have with me here, starting with my extreme left, I have Deepak Ravindran. He's the founder of Kirana Pro. I think Neha will join us very shortly, or she's just about getting on stage. And Neha is from Hyderabad, so she's allowed to be a little late. Yeah. And then we also have with us Sanath. Sanath is the founder of Deep Holistics, right? So what we're going to do over the next 25 minutes or 24 minutes is talk through their journeys, right? And get an understanding of how they've come to where they are and what challenge they've faced and so on, right? So I'll start with you, Neha.
Of course you will.
Yeah. Hyderabad first, right? So, okay, so what inspired you to start Wayfarers? And, what first, in the first place, what inspired you to think about becoming an entrepreneur?
So I've been working in the non-profit and impact sector for the last 15 years. Very happy to be behind the scenes. Very happy to let the policymakers do the talking and just working on the program itself. So there must have been some crazy spark in my head that made me want to change all of that and come here and start speaking in public about my startup. But I think one of the major things that caused me to do this was I myself am a slow traveler. Specifically in India, I love to slow down and immerse myself in experiences that I wouldn't otherwise find in a mainstream itinerary. And I always realized that generic search results hampered that. So here I am, I have founded the Wayfarers, a slow travel community app that is redefining the way we discover, curate, and plan travel in India, where generic search results don't decide where you go, you yourself do. Community of travelers that you have chosen for yourself on the app do that for you. And we use behavioral sciences and, of course, generative AI to do this. So the whole planning process becomes that much easier. I realized that immersive and meaningful travel should be accessible to everyone, and not everyone enjoys hours and hours of planning. So we decided to solve that problem for people who love to travel well, but who do not want to spend time understanding where in India they need to go and what kind of travel they want to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha. Deepak, you told me that this is your fourth startup, right? Yeah. So maybe quickly walk us through the first three, and then let's talk about what you're now building, Kirana Pro.
So I started in 2008. My first company was called Inos, and that we built a service called SMS Gyan. I don't know how many people have used it, but back in those days, it was very famous. It was like ChatGPT before ChatGPT through SMS. So you can send an SMS asking for who invented abacus, which is the tallest tower, or what is the weather in Delhi, and you get instant answers through online. And that was a hit. We built that in 2008 as finally a project while I was doing computer science in Kerala. And I had to quit college and do a management course in IIM Ahmedabad because we got funded from the first. And then through a program called iAccelerator, which invested in us. And then after that, we did a Series A in 2011 with Seed Fund based out of Bombay. In 2014, we were profitable from day one because we worked with all the telecom operators. We ended up in having over 100 million users, paying customers. And the SMS market really went off. Android market took off. So we decided to open source in 2014. And then I started two more companies. One in the US was called Quest, which was part of 500 startups. And then that didn't fly, so I had to return back to India in 2014. And I started Lookup. Lookup was funded by Khosla, Narayana Murthy sir, Chris Gopalakrishnan sir, Twitter founder Bistone. It was a WeChat of India. We sold that to Now Floats, which is in Hyderabad. I worked for 5 years there, and we eventually got acquired to Reliance Jio, and I worked for 1.5 years there. And then after that, I went to US And then I didn't do anything for a couple of years. And then in 2021, I returned back to India. And I started Kirana Pro now in December this year.
So what are you building at Kirana Pro?
So Kirana Pro is nothing but Blinkit or Zepto, but we don't have any dark stores. In fact, we work with Kirana stores. So the same features, but we don't have any inventory holding. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now the man, again, another amazing entrepreneur, Sanath. So you were telling me about the first startup and then how you are now building your second startup. So let's quickly start with the first startup and then how post-COVID you moved into this space.
So I like to call myself the student of the world's most expensive MBA program. I blew up $5 million learning business over the last 10 years. I started when I was 19, quit college, figured that the standard education structure which my parents paid for wasn't worthy enough. So I went and blew someone else's money on the last 10 years learning business the hard way on the ground. Started off as a consumer internet company, building for connected home devices. Built India's first consumer IoT stack, which is a chipset to cloud stack, largely because India didn't have Internet of Things connectivity stack. Put that into consumers' homes in the form of connected devices like smart bulbs, smart plugs, etc. Sold 800,000 of them in less than 2 years. And fortunately, unfortunately, I use both the words. During COVID, we almost went bankrupt because of global supply chain disruptions and semiconductor shortages, etc. And we had to pivot. We had to survive, so we had to pivot. And when we pivoted, we figured what can take away life can also give a new life. So there was a large wave of wellness and proactive care post-COVID. What Internet of Things taught us was interoperability. So we figured healthcare needed interoperability, and we pivoted from light bulb to longevity. So right now, Deep Holistics is a full-stack longevity platform, which helps people like yourself look, feel, perform 10 on 10 every day. Our idea is to solve for what we like to call as Health 4.0, where health is interoperable, integrated, hyper-personalized for you as an individual. We're primarily solving two problems in healthcare. One is a lot of disintegrated information or data sets about you as an individual in terms of your health data. And the second one is what we like to call as egoistic delivery systems, where you've got different schools of medicine, and we're trying to integrate all of them into one.
Okay. Let's switch the order around this time. I'll start with you again. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges. You talked about the first startup, the pandemic effect and so on. And now the new one which you're building, right, which is health, wellness combined with tech. How are you, what challenges have you learned so far and what lessons have you learned? So whose money did you blow up in the first place, those 5 million? Who is that person sitting here anyway?
We technically didn't blow it up, but then, yeah.
I mean, I understand what you're saying,
yes.
but yeah.
But yeah, we were fortunate to have people who patiently backed us and gave us that freedom to fail.
Okay.
But I think two lessons which stay with me are people don't care about your dreams, they care about their problems. If you're solving their problems, then they start caring about your dreams. And vision without execution is hallucination. Right? A lot of us as founders, we see a lot of visions, but somewhere the translation to execution doesn't fit in. And that's when you start living in a world of hallucinations. So I think these are the two main key takeaways for me in terms of what I've learned over the last 10 years.
Sure. Let's move to you, Deepak. Lessons and challenges you're now facing as you build Kirana Pro, and also quick reflection on lessons and challenges in the 3 earlier startups.
I think every time you do a startup, you learn new things. The lessons that you learned in the last startup might not be applicable. That's what I realized in 4 startups. First time it was like lack of funding or lack of visibility, who you are, like carrying a visiting card and looking like a 16-year-old boy. That was tough. moving to US was tough with no visa and no backing. So that was solved in the second company through incubators and accelerators like 500 startups. Then third company, co-founder was an issue. I was a lone founder. So I did everything myself and I flopped in the end because all the distance came through me. And that was tough and that was hard. In the new company, I think right now what we are finding difficult or tough to overcome is like, how do you build a brand when there is so many other brands already in the market? How do you differentiate? So that is something I'm learning now. And I can share more after like doing it, but right now that is where I am.
Okay. How do you build a differentiation is the challenge which you're facing. Okay. Neha.
Yeah. I'm pretty early in my entrepreneurship journey. So I'm pretty sure there are going to be many, many challenges that come my way. But one of the biggest ones that I have experienced so far, and something that Funny also mentioned during his talk earlier today, was I feel like sometimes I am my biggest hurdle. So I limit myself in how freely I think sometimes, and then I have to check myself and course correct with that inner dialogue of mine. And that, I think, has been one of the bigger challenges that I was not anticipating on my entrepreneurial journey. So that is one thing. And the second thing is I have done really well in my past life, in my past professional life, in building up others' brands, others' programs, other entrepreneurs and their endeavors. But when it comes time to talk about myself, I feel like I don't do it as seamlessly and as easily. And I think, I've been told by many people that it has something to do with my gender. Women tend to not like to prop themselves up and celebrate themselves as much as they like to do others. And that is a challenge that I have experienced and something that I'm learning or relearning to do differently.
So I'll just pick up on a couple of points both of you made, right? And I think Deepak made a point about the fact that as a lone founder, he struggled. How are you doing it this time around?
No, we've always been the same team. Actually, 70% of the team which worked on light bulbs today is working on longevity. So we've been the same founders, we've been the same team, but we've also added people along the way to bring in expertise and to also give different perspectives to what we're building on. But I think the core team has remained the same for the last decade.
Sure. Neha, I'll just pick up on the last point which you made, right? This point about inhibition, right? Or, type of thing. So I'm going to ask between you and Deepak. And Deepak, I'm sure since you've been through that journey as well, right? You were a single founder for some time. And there were times you mentioned that as a 16-year-old when you started, type of thing. How did you overcome that? And I want you to tell Neha what are some of the things which you did to become more self-assured and confident, and how can Neha overcome her sense of reticence, if you will.
Oh, the question is
questions to you.
Okay. I thought it's for a okay. Question.
How do you become more self-assured?
How do you
become more self-assured and overcome your sense of, being a little reserved with oneself? You're good at telling others what to do and others how to project themselves, but how do you make sure that you don't become too inhibited yourself?
Wow, that was a tough one. So first and foremost, my team that I created was from all my startups. The engineers and all, it's come from my college, most of them. So even though I quit college, I become the largest recruiter of the same college, which I dropped out. So I was able to manage that team right from the day one. Then to make myself happy, what do I do? Is that the question?
No, how to make yourself self-assured.
Make yourself?
More self-assured and more confident.
Oh, more confident, okay. So build a great product. I think you have the ability to build great products sitting in India, show it to the world. You have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have internet, you have Instagram. You can showcase. You don't need distribution access anymore. So show up the product, build something amazing. People will come and show it. More people will talk about it. So I think the confidence automatically comes if you are building a great product for tech entrepreneurship.
Okay. Neha, I'm going to jump to you very quickly. You've started building a team. Right? So when you are hiring for your first set of people, what is it that you look for when you're building your team?
One thing that I've consciously tried to do is focus on potential versus performance. So I've not tried to dwell too much on their track record of doing the exact same work in the past. Not so much that than what their attitude is and what their problem-solving skills in the context of life skills have been like. And of course, there is this need to understand whether they feel the same level of urgency to solve the problem that you're trying to solve. And I have realized that that has served me well. I have found a great team which is very interested in solving the problem as intensely as we want to, as me and my co-founder want to. So that has been a great formula for me. So one of our engineers, for example, is a second-year IIT Kharagpur dropout because he just realized that he does not want to pursue the education that is being offered at that moment because that is not what he is looking for. But the kind of work that he has done for us has been phenomenal. The kind of learning curve he has shown us along the way has been phenomenal. So we have taken some very interesting bets on the team that we are building, and we are quite happy with what that has meant for us.
Sure. Coming back to you, Sanath. You've done this twice over, right? So quickly, again, in terms of, you said most of the team which was part of the first startup is also now part of this. So two questions to you. One is, what do you think caused them to stay on? One. And second is, how do you identify and build top talent?
First one is easier to answer. Second one is always a pursuit. I think the first one is a lot of onus is on the founders to drive that vision, to sell that vision. More importantly, there's a function within our office where all our employees have to go through what consumers go through, which is, it's a collective consumer vision. So if we're talking longevity, if we're talking peak performance, right, all of us are part of the structure where we're going through and sharing what works and what doesn't work for our own self. And the moment you start doing that, they start getting involved. The person might have nothing to do with the product, but if you involve them towards a collective vision of building towards what your goal is, and if they experience it from the lens of a consumer, I think they get more invested into it. And I think the second part of it is everyone's looking for safety, right? Everyone, at the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, we run on equity and futures and all of that, right? But as employees, they are families, and as an entrepreneur, it's your responsibility to make sure that every month you are delivering on that, right? So as long as they feel that, okay, no matter what circumstance, no matter what pivot, if the safety is ensured by the founders and the founders are standing for it and they're still driving the vision, I think people tag along. The second part, honestly, it's work in progress. The magic formula, I don't know. Okay. It's always a hit and miss.
So I think now let's move to a little bit of a rapid fire because we have got very little time left. So very quickly, what does success look like for you, for the three of you, each one of you? If you build a successful entity, what do you think will exemplify success for you?
For me, this has been a constant point of discussion between me and my co-founder and my team. It will always be finding that balance between value created and valuation. I really, really want to emphasize a lot on the value that we create and that the users that we want to do all of this for, solve this problem for, the travelers, the value that we create is what is going to be the bottom line of success for me.
Deepak?
I think users and the way they use, you know, you don't have to meet them and talk to them, but they will talk to others about you when you have a great product. So that is success to me.
Sanath?
Helping you look, feel, perform 10 on 10.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're almost done from a time standpoint. I originally thought this was supposed to be 45 minutes, but I think we have 25.
And I think the audience is
I don't know if you have time for quick questions from the audience. No? Okay. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you, Deepak, Neha, and Sanath.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.